take a break from all the action and bustle and hustle of the season. And we are now in the off season, getting ready for the draft tonight, which there will be a live stream at 9 Eastern 4. But for right now, I want to talk to you guys about some tips and tricks when it comes to free agency, scouting, stuff like that, so you don't get left in the dust later on down your careers. Again, we're trying to keep Potluck running for 30 in-game seasons, if possible, if not until Madden 18 comes out. And a lot of the reason I see people leaving leagues is because they cannot stay competitive, which is part of the reason I started this series, is to show that no matter your skill level, because I'm not the best in the world, you can stay competitive and be a thorn in the sides of anyone that you want throughout the years. And this is a great year for me to go ahead and show you guys some stuff, because I actually ran into some problems this free agency off season, which we will get to in just a moment. Of course, I got to do my usual thing. So, the main problem I have is that you're going to get people who like to jack up the prices on free agency, and then in the later years you'll look at their team and be like, how do they have 155 million cap space, Alex? But that's neither here nor there. That is something that is easily countered. But I'm gonna talk to you guys about a few things today. Just going to do some marketing. How's everyone doing out there? That's great. Awesome. So that's one issue we run into that we will address today. Another issue that I see people running into is the combine. They don't know how to scout players. They don't know how to tell if a player is going to be good or not. The only variable I really see when I scout players is what is their development trait going to be. And that could kill you, honestly. If you draft a stud who has rookie ratings, but he has a slow development, you're not going to be able to do anything with him, especially in this game, unless you make him somehow have Rookie of the Year or MVP or whatever, but you won't be able to upgrade him throughout the season because everything's going to cost too much. So just something to look at and pay attention to is the development trait. For example, last year, I noticed Johnny Manziel was a big favorite. He was one guy that you could get for cheap, and then after a few years, boom, he's a 99 and you've already got him for 7. So that was a big thing in 16, along with there were some others, Brashard Perryman, Philip Dorsett, all these guys, and Philip Dorsett's still awesome in this game. They improved his catching, so he doesn't drop as many balls. He's still just as fast, but speed does not mean the world in this game anymore. If you look back at the Vikings game, there was a play where Tyler Lockett was matched up one-on-one with Jeremy Lane. Jeremy Lane has 89 speed. Lockett has like 94 or something. Madden 16, that's a touchdown every time. And I was able to pick him off. Yeah, he burnt me a couple times during that game, but Lane was able to keep up with him on a couple others. So it's really, truly a 50-50 ball. So development trait really matters in this game. Like Johnny Manziel, he is a slow development trait. It is going to take 5-6 years unless you have experience at 300%, which, whatever, your league, your settings. We have around 150 for all the base players, with a couple of players having a little extra just to try to keep everything balanced in the league. So we're going to look at a few things today. Free agency, scouting, some players you might want to look for, and what to do if you have no money. I actually encountered that situation, which is part of the reason I made this video. This is the perfect year. I had no money, I had a lot of holes, and I was able to fill them all up, and I'm going to be okay next year. I'm not going to be as competitive as some people who made stupid ass trades, but hey, that's what it is. So we're about to jump right into this. Alright, so first thing we're going to jump into is what I had to do. Okay, so I was knocked down. I traded my receiving core away to kind of beef up the defense, and I had to go into a huge red alert damage control mode because I made the mistake, and I usually do not, I made the mistake of not looking at the bonuses of Curse or Lockett or KJ Wright. I saw the three players and I'm like, oh, well, they're not Wagner, Sherman, Cam, Baldwin, Russell. They can't have the huge bonuses. What I didn't realize is that the Seahawks have been throwing around bonuses like Reese's Pieces candy, apparently. So I all of a sudden have a $9 million penalty, and I'm like, shit. And the Seahawks are a very expensive team with Graham, with Cam. All these guys have a large salaries, and it is hard to maintain if you make too many moves, and I did. So I had to play damage control. So what I did was I had to trade. I had to trade Cam and Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham, no one was jumping on him. 30 years old. They're not going to give away anything for him, which is a smart move. If he's a 30-year-old tight end whose success is based on speed, route running, and catching, there is no reason to pay anything for him, because at that old, the most important stat is run blocking, and Jimmy's is like a 63. So no one was jumping on Jimmy, so I just had to straight up cut him, which hurt, but it freed up $8 million. Then I jumped over and I had to trade Cam away. And Cam, again, he's a decent player, but if you go back and you watch the entire season, there were some key critical plays where he was standing right there and he didn't do anything. And he had only like 2 picks throughout the year. Why am I paying $12 million for a guy who's going to get me 2 picks? With the defense I call, any strong safety I put in that spot can get 2 picks a year. So what I did was I traded Chancellor and Sharif Floyd, my defensive tackle that I picked up from the Vikings. I traded Lockett for him, and it pisses me off because now I have to trade him again because I have no money. So, but that's where damage control comes in. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet and say, hey, I made some bad decisions this year. Next time, I'll be all right. So I bit the bullet, traded Cam, traded Sharif. I got in return, I also traded Eric Rowe, who got injured at the end of last season, and Trey Waynes was playing better than him anyway, so I figure I'll throw Trey in the slot or number 2 corner position, and that should do me just fine this upcoming year. So I got a couple first-round picks now. That's 5 first 2 rounds, 5 players in the first 2 rounds that I can grab. Which is pretty good. A lot of people look at this 22, 26. Oh, what are you going to get? 22 and 26. Are you kidding me? This draft is, first of all, it's pretty deep. You can find some pretty decent players even in the 7th round that you could build up. But not only that, the first 20 to 25 picks is going to be wide receivers, corners, running backs, quarterbacks. Everyone looks at the skill positions, especially with the 16 hangover, as I'm going to call it, where receivers and cornerbacks, those are the only ways to win. In here, it's a little different. Speed doesn't matter as much. The intangibles matter more than speed. It's interesting because I took KJ Wright, 75 speed, traded him off. I was suffering from the hangover as well. Traded him off for Bakevious Mingo, who's faster and has decent intangibles. Doesn't have as good intangibles as KJ Wright, but he has decent intangibles. First game with KJ Wright, I allow maybe 50 yards rushing at the best. Then, if y'all go back and look through the season, I couldn't stop the fucking run. KJ Wright was my run stopper, and I lost him. It was the Madden 16 hangover, so you got to watch out for that. So we jump back, and again, I got 5 players in the first 2 rounds, along with 3 players in the third round. So that's 8 players in the first 3 rounds I can pick up. That's going to help me out. So I traded Cam Chancellor. He had to go. I picked up Barry Church in free agency. A solid replacement until I find that star, because there are so many other gaping holes in my roster that my secondary, I just needed a solid player there. I didn't need the best player there. I needed a solid player there just to help out. Then you got Earl Thomas, of course. I couldn't get rid of him. People were talking to me about Sherman. He wasn't going anywhere, but Eric Rowe did leave, so that leaves me with Jeremy Lane and Trey Waynes backing up Sherman. But Lane might not have that big a role this year. Then you have I had to cut some outside linebackers. Mike Neal being the main one. He was a free agent pickup last year who actually got 3 or 4 picks for me, along with some really good tackles for losses. He was a solid free agent pickup. So Mike Neal, that's a name you guys might want to remember if you're in your own league. Eric Pinkins. He's 26. He kind of sucks, but he's got that speed. So I'm going to hold on to him just in case I can make something out of him for when he's 29, 30, get one good year out of him or something. I don't know. Bobby Wagner stayed. Barkevious Mingo, I signed him for a good 4 or 5 years. I don't want him to go anywhere. Jaron Reed, he was good enough for me to trade Sharif Floyd. He's a rookie, 78 overall. He's going to be something. I just need time. And Sharif Floyd was supposed to give me that time, but shit happens. So Cliff Averill, Michael Benner are still holding down the ends. Hopefully they can hold it down. And then I had my O-line. My O-line was shit. And again, Jimmy Graham gone. So my O-line was shit. Part of the reason I couldn't run the ball this fucking year. So what I did was I traded Cam, I traded Jimmy. That freed up $15 million in cap space. And I went over to free agency and I picked up this line. I was able to get Batonio from the Browns for Sharif Floyd, actually. That is a left guard who will not need to be replaced for 10 years. Cool. He's locked in. Quick development. Great pickup. Wyszynski is a center that is at least going to be solid for me for a year, maybe 2. Just something to hold that position down because I don't have enough picks and I have too many holes for me to focus on the O-line. Jeff Schwartz, picked him up. A solid right guard. They both block the run pretty well. There's going to be a couple times where the pass gets blown up, but that's why I have Russell Wilson. So both these guys, solid replacements until I could get better. Joe Wright on the tackle. He's not bad. Again, solid guys just to keep the line steady. Then I got but I had to leave left tackle open. I could not find a decent left tackle in free agency. So I am taking a gamble that there will be one that I can plug in there in the draft. So let's go to free agency. What you're going to find in free agency, these are the problems you're going to find. You have guys who will jump. You see I have $300,000 in cap room. Well, I had to do it because I had to sign these guys. Otherwise, I was going to get screwed. Cody Parkey, 71 overall. Everyone looks at that like, so he's 25, but he's 71 overall. Ew, ew, ew. Okay, well, let's take a look at Cody Parkey real quick. This is why you guys don't focus on the overalls, because what's wrong with Cody Parkey? I'll tell you what's wrong with Cody Parkey. He has no awareness. 51 awareness. You bring that up to 70, and all of a sudden Cody Parkey is an 80 to 85 overall kicker. And it takes half a year to get that up to 70. 94 kick power, 90 accuracy. He is going to be a monster for me for 10 years. I'll never have to worry about the kicker position, or I won't have to worry about the kicker position for a long fucking time. So, when you go into free agency, some of the issues you're going to find is you're going to find players who like to bid huge. If I can find some, there may have been. There's not a lot left in this free agency. I did this a little late, but if I can find a couple guys who actually bid pretty big, I know I saw one or two earlier, so I could use them as an example. Thought I did. Well, here's a good example. Stephen Tulloch, middle linebacker, 81 overall. He's 32 years old. He's going to do nothing but regress for the next couple years. And here's the Falcons, and you see the new point system this year. They have 77 points on him. That means they offered him actually probably pretty close to that $9 million over 2 years. That is ridiculous for a middle linebacker like Tulloch. But I see through this shit, and so should you, because he's the top bid right now, but there is no one else bidding. So I would not be surprised to see him wait until right before advance to drop that offer to minimum $550,000 for 1 year. Get a solid middle linebacker who will stop the run for nothing. That is the thing you guys got to watch out for. Even if you're not the top bid, that does not mean you're going to lose this race. Bid what you want to pay on players. For example, on Phillip Rivers here, I have the minimum. Someone wants to come in and beat me? Fine. You can pay more than the minimum for Phillip Rivers. But Phillip Rivers would be a hell of a backup to Russell Wilson, don't you think? So, yeah, and if someone wants to take him, fine. Minimum on Fitzpatrick. Someone wants to take him. Minimum on Geno. Minimum on Cap. Minimum on Gabbert. Fuck Sanchez. Minimum on Hoyer. Minimum on Foles. It doesn't matter. Any one of these guys, I can put $550,000 on, which is what these guys are doing. Geno Smith. Colin Kaepernick. Both. Minimum offers. 21, 22 points. That's when you know they have a minimum fucking offer on the table. So they're getting these players for a fucking steal. Now Kaepernick, I think he's a bum this year. Geno, I think he's a bum this year. I don't even care that they're paying the minimum for him. They can have him at the minimum. I'll take the 84 overall, who can fucking sling it if Russell Wilson goes down. You got linebackers here. You got the Rams put up 26 points. Again, that's nowhere near the $7.23 million. You gotta watch out for guys paying the minimum for great players. Which this year there's not a lot of great players, so I'm not really paying attention to it too much. But there were players like Malcolm Butler. You gotta put a bid on there, because what will happen is at advance, if they see that there's someone outbidding them for that player, they have two choices. One, withdraw their bid, and now you get them for the price you wanted to pay for them. Or two, they have to drop and pay more than you would. So that way, they can't use the cap system to make their team impossible to stop. That's something you have to watch out for. So when it comes to free agency, when you see a player you like, bid what you would pay for him. Don't try to be the top bid. Bid what you would pay for him and see what happens. Sometimes it's not going to go your way. Sometimes guys will overpay for players. That's great. The next year, they're going to have no fucking cap. to pay for the players that you want. Eventually, you're going to outsmart them. That's what you got. You got to be smarter than the other guys. That's all the strategy of franchise entails. You can be the greatest user in the world, but if you can't get the players, it doesn't fucking matter. So that's my biggest tip for free agency. Also, look at the guys' actual stats instead of their overall. For example, Arian Foster down here, 77 overall, 31 years old. Ew. But if you're a team like, for example, the Dolphins, who have no running backs, guess what? Arian Foster, even though he has 84 speed, he runs fucking hard. 88 stiff arm, 82 trucking, and that went down. 83 carrying, decent at least. He's going to fumble 4 or 5 times a year. Elusiveness. 71 elusiveness. That's better than some fucking rookies when compared to trucking. Usually, you'll get rookies with trucking in the 80s, and then their elusiveness will be 50s, 60s. That's not bad. He'll at least fight for you. And look at his traits. Fight for extra yards. Predictable player. Easy to sign. Discipline penalties. He's not going to get penalties. On medium hits, he covers the ball. So he is careful with his football for the most part. He's going to fuck up sometimes, but if you're not a run-heavy offense, but you like to run every once in a while, Arian Foster is a solid pickup for 1 year. Sign him for the minimum. No one else will pay for him. Sign him for the minimum. Run with him for a year until you find that superstar in the draft. Speaking of the draft, let's move over to the draft now. So we're talking about combine grades. What you want to, there's certain things you want to look for each position. If you get some guys, I've talked to and I've seen, they'll look at the combine grades, and if they have a couple of green values, which if you look here, those green values on the right, they have he has good agility and good jumping. The fuck does a quarterback need jumping for? That green value means absolutely nothing to me. I do not care that you can jump. You mean nothing to me. Except he has A+ throw power, A- throw accuracy short, and throw accuracy medium is B+. What that means is that throw power will be right around, varying, it'll be around 95. A-, that means his throw accuracy short will be right around 90. His throw accuracy medium will be right around 85. That's what that means. It'll be a little higher, actually. It'll be around 87, 88. So that is some pretty decent intangibles for a rookie quarterback. It probably needs work on awareness, but we all know awareness costs what, 200-300 points? Spend that shit. Get that shit. That's you guys got to pay attention to what skills matter, and combine grades matter. You see, I did not scout any quarterback except that one. Why do you think that is? Because I have Russell motherfucking Wilson. I've got him for 8 years. I don't got to worry about none of these guys. Halfbacks, didn't scout any. Why? I have Thomas Rawls. I'm confident with running with Rawls for 8 years or whatever the hell his career is going to last me. Can wait a few years on this. My biggest hole was receivers. So let's take a look at receivers. I have a lot scouted. I know who's who in the receivers, and I still got 2 or 3 more scouting opportunities. The point is, you want to look at what matters. Catching traffic is a B for this guy. 6'2", 450, 640. Ew. The most important stats to look for at receiver is the 40-yard dash, the vert and broad jumps, and probably 30-cone, 20-yard shuttle. The wide receivers are the ones that probably benefit the most from the combine. If their 3-cone, 20-yard shuttle equals to, I'd say, more than 11, don't fucking bother. Like this guy. This guy is just over 11. He is just in my sight to go, maybe. On agility wise, vert jump, it's not bad. 40 inches. That's not bad. That's actually going to be probably around 90 jumping. The number one trait that everyone wants to look at is speed, so let's look at speed. 40-yard dash. Let me give you guys a nice little baseline. 4.49. Those are the golden numbers. Those are the numbers you want to remember in your head. 4.49. Last year, 4.49 equaled exactly 90. 90 speed, period. That was a great little tool to have last year. Well, this year, Madden wised up, and they said, fuck you guys. We don't want you having that easy of a time. So they made scouting a little bit harder this year. And what they did was 449 equals, I think, 88 to 92 now. Basically, instead of that one, it's more realistic. Instead of that one run dictating what their speed is for their career, they could be a little bit of anything. With I would say probably a 4 swing cushion you might want to give them. So 449 is the absolute minimum for a receiver that I would like to think of. But I will look at their intangibles. If they have, for example, if the rest of his stats are BBB and it's route running and catching, I'll look at him. Because his route running will make him lose a couple defenders. You look at like Julian Edelman. There are guys online, including myself, who will torch you with Julian Edelman. Because if you put him on an out route, in route, corner route, anything other than a streak, he can fake out that fucking defender. Drags and streaks, that's the only thing Edelman is not going to fake out anyone on. But his agility makes up for his lack of speed. That's what everyone needs to realize. If you have a 97 speed receiver with 65 agility, you better just send him on streaks because there's nothing else he can do. And if you have a 97 speed receiver with 80 acceleration, which I actually got last year, he's not going to burn anyone. It's going to take him too long to get up to speed to burn anyone. So 449 for the 40-yard dash is what you want to look for. That equals about 90. Vert jump 40, I would say that's pretty much good for a receiver. Receiver, cornerback, you want around between 38 and 40. Broad jump, I'm not sure about the broad jump actually. That one you may just want to look at what position it is and the rankings, because they give you those nice little rankings on the side there. He's the 11th receiver in the broad jump. Not bad considering there's 30, 40 of them. There's even more than that. I didn't count. But then you have the 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle. Basically, those two added together give you speed, agility, and acceleration. You want that around 10. You don't want it much more than 10. That'll give you some nice, decent agility. And then you have the bench press, which we will get into later. So that's some things for the receivers. So quarterbacks, again, if you want a mobile quarterback, then you want to look at that rank over there and get probably someone in the top 10. He'll at least be somewhat mobile. A 40-yard dash. Vert jump means shit. That's Ariane. Hold on one second, guys. Hi, hon. Hi, I'm in the middle of a stream. Can I call you back? I love you. Okay, give me a minute. Bye. Sorry about that, guys. So, jumping means shit. 3-cone, 20 yards. Again, that's agility. Around 11, he's going to have decent agility. Basically, this guy's going to be able to move around like a Cutler or Stafford. He's not going to burn anyone like Wilson or even Luck does sometimes, but he is not going to be stagnant as Rivers, Manning, or Brady. So that's basically what this is telling me for this guy. This and quarterbacks, the intangibles matter most. Throw on the run means nothing to overall. If you're looking for overall, throw on the run does not mean much. It is a cheap stat, just like awareness. Don't worry about it. What you want is guys like this. Power, accuracy, that's what you want. Those you want those high to start because they're going to be a pain in the ass to upgrade later. Halfbacks. We've got a 40-yard dash. The jumping, meh, doesn't mean too much. The other two, three cone and 20-yard shovel mean they mean a lot. And bench press, not too much. So this guy's going to be one of the more agile of the running backs. 4.40 is his speed rating. So this guy's going to be, I'm going to say, between 92, 93 speed. His agility is right around 10.79. So I would say probably 89, 90s in agilities and accelerations. So he's going to be a quick little guy. I don't know his intangibles though. So this guy, you might want to look. Does he have elusiveness? Does he have trucking? Does he have these things? Because he's a 5'11", 204-pound guy. He may just have trucking in there and elusiveness. And if they both have B minuses or C pluses, that's something you can work with there to make him something in the future. Then you jump over to fullbacks. Never, ever, 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 unless you have a really good team, like Steelers, like the Seahawks. I did not need one though, so I'm not too worried about it. So unless you got a real good team and you run the ball, don't even spend a point on this. But if you do spend a point on this, I would look for run blocking and impact blocking. Guys are gonna tell me, oh, well, why don't you look at catching or trucking or speed or any of that? I don't look for any of that. I don't even waste my time on it. I look for run blocking and impact blocking because, yeah, they may drop it on the flat every once in a while, but the fullback dive is so fucking broken for so many years. You are guaranteed 2-3 yards, whether he's great or not. So it doesn't really matter what his trucking or speed is because he's going to get 2 or 3 yards if I ever run the ball with him. So that's why you want to look at run blocking and impact blocking only on fullbacks. Wide receivers, we already know about that. Tight ends, you want to look at height because they have to be taller than them linebackers. So like this guy, 6'6", 266 pounds. 472, he's the 4th fastest tight end in the draft. He's probably going to be around 81, 82 speed. Not that great for most people. But I don't care. He has jumping. Look at that jumping. He's going to need that because he's going to have to out-jump safeties and linebackers usually. Then you got the 3-cone. He's 6 1/8, so he's not bad at agility. It's right around 1160 something, so I would say probably 85 to 90 on those. Bench press 19 pounds or 19 reps. That tells me his strength is shit. So this is a Jimmy Graham type of tight end. He is tall. He will catch the ball. Even though his catching isn't great, I mean, this guy is projected to be a 4th rounder or undrafted. So again, not really anyone you need to focus on, but he has some intangibles for a good, like, 3rd stringer. Kind of see what happens with him. So you want to look at, for here, in my opinion, you need to see catching. Needs to be a B or a B minus. Run blocking should be in the C range. And impact block should be in the C range. So this guy has impact block, but I wouldn't be surprised if his run blocking with that strength, 19 reps, how many linemen are going to go down to a guy who can bench 19 reps? Not many. That's something you might want to watch out for. And that brings us to left tackles. Left tackles are awesome. So these are easy guys to scout. Line is the easiest thing to scout in the game. It's real simple. Pass block, run block, impact block. You don't care about anything else. I don't give a shit about anything else but pass block, run block, impact block. Reason for that being is there's no other real stats that affect their overall. They have strength. Strength Pass block, run block, impact block. You could not touch another stat on those guys throughout their career, and you could get them to 99. So keep that in mind. So this guy has all three that I want. Cool. Run block, meh. Impact block, meh. C minus, that's between 70 75. He may even go into the 60s in his impact block. Then you look over at bench press. Anything under 32 reps, drop immediately. Fuck those guys. This guy, for example, not getting drafted by me. 30 reps, that's just under, but along with his intangibles, fuck him. He's not my guy. 32 reps, that gets you probably between 85 to 90 strength, which is a stat that not a lot of people that I know touch during the upgrade process because they're too focused on pass block, run block, impact block. So that's something that's across the line. You do not want to look at this guy, for example. Here's a good one. Holy shit. This guy is a gem. Too bad I just signed a center, so I'm not even really looking at him in the first round. So someone else is going to grab him, and they're going to have a kick-ass lineman. You have your strength at 37 reps. That is going to be a 90 to 95 strength rating. You have pretty decent agility. He's the top 2 in agility for his class of centers. So run blocking, he's going to be able to get out there and be able to back up your run game. Run block, B, that's an 80. That's right around 85. B minus, that's right around 80. C plus, that's right around 78, 79. So that's going to be an okay guy to work on. And in a year, he's going to be a solid center for you. And he's 22 years old. So that means 12 years of a solid center right here, right now, just for you. That's really all around the board. And I heard this rumor. I don't know if there's any truth to it, but I will tell you guys about it just in case you want to take it and run with it. I will not. That if you draft a lineman, defensive or offensive, if they are under 300 pounds, do not bother. That's what I heard. Me personally, I say fuck that. Offensive line over 300, absolutely fine. I'll run with that. It's got to be over 300 for offensive line. Defensive line, I like guys like Freeney and Mathis and God, what was his name? Why am I spacing on this? Simeon Rice. Both these guys, all three of those guys, under 300 pounds. One of the meanest defensive ends of all, some of the meanest defensive ends of all time. Not guys you want to fuck with. So 300 pounds on the defensive line, I don't really listen to that. Defensive line, going to that. You want to kind of look for block shedding, tackling, and speed. That's the three main ones I look for. So this guy, for example, he may be a decent third round pick because his tackling is going to be around 80, 85. His block shedding's going to be up there right around 80. And block shedding, when you're 21, is not hard to move. So 6'7", 310 pounds, meh, 16 fastest left end. Okay, this is where I start getting in trouble with him because that's a little slow for me on defensive end. But then, this is where I was talking about. Outsmart your opponent. Look over here. Bench press, 37 reps, just like that center. So we're talking 92 to 95 strength. So why am I starting to get intrigued by this guy now? I'll tell you why. Because he doesn't have to stay at left end. Okay, so I draft him. Oh, that's a slow-ass left end. Everyone's laughing at me. Ha, ha, ha. I put him on the interior at defensive tackle, and he starts lighting runs up. Oh, shit, I can't run the ball up the middle. No shit, because I got an Atomic Ensued 2.0 right here. This is the kind of things you need to look for. Be a little smarter than your opponents. So this guy, I would draft him, but with the full intention of putting him at defensive tackle for his career. Another thing, these combine grades are important. 6.5 to 7 for a defensive end is awesome. You saw I skipped all these guys. All these guys I skipped. I wasn't gonna look at anyone in here. Then all of a sudden, this guy has a 7 combine grade. Oh, well, let's take a look at him. Look at that. Tackle B-, hit power B-, block shedding B-, bench press 37. This guy, he's slow as fuck, but defensive tackle again. I could get him in the 7th round. I'm showing him now because I'm not even going to worry about it because someone's going to grab him and be like, oh, I saw it on your stream and I drafted him before you did. That's great. You think I don't have 5 other gems lined up? This is just one of them. This is the thing. You got to look at the guys you're gemming. There are gems all over the round. I remember last year, a couple of the commissions got pissed at me. Fred in particular got mad at me because I found in the 3rd round a cornerback with 82 press, 83 zone, 85 man, 97 speed, and 35 awareness. And they're all, oh, that sucks. And he had the quick development trait. So guess who was my number 1 cornerback by year 2? And getting 10 to 15 picks per year. And guess who was in my inbox going, hey, trade me that guy. Yeah, fuck you. But that's the thing. You got to find the gems. There are gems in this draft. I promise you. You just have to be able to put the work in. They made it harder this year. You're not going to get 80s, 90s out of the draft. It's not going to happen. That's not what the draft is about, and that's why you'll find a lot of users who don't give a shit about the draft. That's fine. Let them not give a shit about the draft. Let them trade for all these superstars, trade all their picks away, and get all these superstars. And they're like, oh, they have a stacked team. I don't want to face that. Give it 4 or 5 years. All their stars will be old. Their cap will be, they won't have any rookies ready. And boom. Now you have the best team in the league. You just got to be patient. This is if you're in it for the grind, if it's a 1-year league, don't even listen to what I'm saying. Free agency and combine doesn't even matter. But if you're going for a long haul, worry about this shit. Pay attention to this shit. Get the draft down pat. Get those gems. Build your team. Make a badass team out of 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks. Just like Pete Carroll and the Seahawks. How many of those guys on there were 1st rounders? Russell Wilson, wasn't he like a 2nd or 3rd rounder? Sherman, 2nd or 3rd rounder. Cam Chancellor, I don't think he was a 1st rounder. Wagner might have been a 1st rounder, but still, that's all those stars on that team, and not a lot of them came out of the 1st round. So don't worry about 1st round picks just because, for example, in our league, Alex has the Colts, and he traded Andrew Luck and Vontae Davis and all of his stars, and he has like 6 or 7 first-round picks. That's great. You can expect the top cornerbacks, receivers, and quarterback to be gone in the 1st round. You can expect that. But here's the thing. With the Seahawks, I don't have to worry about receivers. Receivers are deep this year. I can pick up a couple that'll at least hold me until I get that one beast like Kevin White or something. And then I can work on intangibles all across the board and build up for this year. I'm not worried that Alex has 8 picks because I can find gems in the later rounds that are going to help me out like this guy. This guy could be the defensive tackle of the future if you work on it. And he's 6'7". 6'7". You know how many passes he's going to bat down? And you got these guys, 7s on their combine grades. You look at them. I'm not showing them, though, because that's my draft is tonight. So these are guys you want to look at. Let's look at middle linebackers because I have Bobby Wagner, so I don't care if you see it. So these guys, 6'1", 6'2". You want to be over 6 foot at linebacker as far as I'm concerned. Because, guys, there are people out there who focus on tight ends, and it's fucking annoying if you don't have someone who can cover them. Especially guys like Ladarius Green out there, Jimmy Graham, at least the first year, because he regressed a lot this past year. Still 90 overall, But his speed went from 84 to 82, and it's like, man, he's not going to outrun many more people. So you got to be able. Will Tye, oh my God, last year Will Tye was broken as shit. But that's something you can work on. So middle linebackers, what you want to look at: tackle, block shedding, and zone coverage if it's up there. If it's not up there, I wouldn't worry about it too much, because zone coverage, at least when they're young, is easy to build up. I would focus on building that up before you build up awareness. This guy's agile, so the cuts aren't going to beat him up as much. And he's pretty strong, 27 reps. That's almost good enough to be a lineman for me. That's only 5 reps short. So he's going to stop the run, and he's a balanced type of player, so he has to have at least decent zone coverage. So I'm thinking 65, 70, probably somewhere in there. This guy will be a decent middle linebacker. Think Jarrell Freeman or Paul Prozinski or Prozansi or whatever the hell his name is from Jacksonville. That's the kind of guy this guy's going to turn into. Cool. He's a good, solid guy. Again, tackling, but look at that. Fastest linebacker in the draft. Quickest linebacker in the draft. And one of the strongest linebackers in the draft. This guy is the one you want to build, with the block shedding to back it up. So all you got to worry about is coverage, play recognition, pursuit, stuff like that. You'll be able to make this guy a gem. Again, it says his talent's a late third rounder. Why? So you're asking me, okay, well, why does it say early second rounder? He's projected, but once I scout him, it says third rounder, late third rounder. Well, that's because you want to get him in the late third round. Why? Because that's awareness. That's where you figure out awareness. The talent, stuff like that, if it drops, usually it's because they have shitty ass awareness. If it goes up, they usually have decent awareness that you can work on. That's what you got to pay attention to. Now, are you willing to put all their points into awareness? That's what you got to look at. And when this guy's tackle, block shedding, hit power, all that shit, I would be willing to draft this guy and spend an entire year with him as my focus in training, just dumping points into awareness. Because by the time I'm done with that, he's an 80, at least. Everyone's favorite, cornerbacks. So let's look at this guy, because I am kind of looking for a corner in this draft. 4.52. Same rule as receivers. If you're not going to get a receiver that's 4.49, why the fuck would you waste time? Oh my God. Oh, I have to point this out. This is fucking hilarious. I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but I go to cornerbacks, and that's everyone's favorite position. Like, I need great cornerbacks in the draft. And I go from 1 viewer to 4 in the room. I don't know if that's coincidence, but I thought that was funny. So, first of all, if you don't get a receiver at 4.49, why the fuck would you get a cornerback with longer than 4.49? So this guy, probably not going to get touched. He's probably around 87, 88 speed. Not bad, though, because, again, speed does not matter as much. Sherman is an 89 speed. Do you think people are still throwing at him? Fuck no. Man coverage, press, zone coverage, all that stuff is decent. So he could be maybe you could throw him at a dime or work on his awareness and throw him at safety. Again, be smarter than your opponents. This could be someone possibly could work out. He's got okay agility and he's got okay jumping. So safety, 6'1", not bad. So let's work on him at safety maybe. Draft him, work on him at safety. You can get him late because everyone's going to look at that all C's across the board and be like, ew, that's a fucking fucked up trash quarterback. I don't want that cornerback. Oh, that's great. I just grabbed him and put him at safety. Now he's my quarter safety. He's the one in the middle of the field, and now you can't throw a deep ball. Oops. So look at that shit, guys. Cornerbacks, mirror your receivers. 4.49 in the speed. Jumping needs to be over 40. 3-cone shuttle, again, you don't want it really over 11. You want to, if you add 3-cone and shuttle together, if it's over 11, I don't know if you really want to look at that too much. Bench press doesn't really matter with cornerbacks. I mean, it matters with press, I guess, but I don't press that much on the line. When I do press, it's really just to bring guys up on the line. I'm not really worried about them pressing the receivers. I just want them to be able to keep up with them. So that's something to look at for cornerbacks. For safeties, again, 4.49. That's right around 90 speed. But for cornerback or for safeties, you don't have to worry about that as much. 85, 86. That still give you a pretty decent return on your safeties. Cam Chancellor, for example, is an 85 speed. But Earl Thomas is like an 88, 89. So you gotta look for it. Earl Thomas, Eric Berry's, those are the real quick ones. But then you got guys like, what's his name? Weddle. No great speed, but you're still not throwing it his fucking way. So, 4.49, this guy's what? 4.60? Probably around 84, 83 speed. Meh. It'd be at least, he could be a solid safety for you. Again, and that's the other thing you got to look at is, are you looking for the stars right now? Because you're never, ever, ever going to get a star at every position every year. It's not going to happen. Unless you and a friend in the league are colluding or something to be like, oh, well, this is what we're going to do. You're going to let me have the best team in this league, and I'll let you have the best team in the other league, and blah, blah, blah. And unless you're doing shit like that, you are not going to get every fucking star. You're going to have holes on your team. It depends on where you want those holes. Me, for example, I want a nasty-ass defense, and I'm okay with a couple holes on offense. That's why my receivers are hurting right now. But you know what? I can make it work. As long as I got Gabriel and Baldwin, I can make it work. I just got to find a decent slot guy. So, these are the things you got to look at. And you got to be able to sit there and be like, well, what do I want for my team? So this guy is a good free safety. He's at least a decent free safety. He's at least going to hold it down for you. He's not going to get... he's not going to be amazing, but... You don't want amazing. You want guys who will do their job. As long as he does his job, he doesn't have to get a pick every time. But if he's swatting the fucking ball away, guess what? That's one more thing the opponent has to worry about. If he's swatting the ball every play, you're sitting there like, shit, why does he just catch it? Okay. But if he swats it 3 times in a row, do you really, really think your opponent's going to throw to him again? And if he's your 72 and you got a 90 on the other safety, he throws it on the other side, now that safety picks it off. You just got to be smarter than your opponent. That's all. Just get a guy who can do his job. So this guy's not bad. Someone to look at. Zone coverage, tackling, and I would say kind of look at speed. That's what you need to look for free safeties. Strong safeties, you need tackling. You need, don't worry about hit power. Hit power means shit. I don't care what anyone says. Hit power doesn't mean anything. Because that's great. You can cause fumbles every once in a while. But guess what? My guy can break tackles and get your guy down behind the line without him breaking the tackle. That's better to me than causing a fumble every once in a while. So hit power, I don't fucking worry about it. See this guy? Everyone looks at him. He can be like, oh, you can be Cam Chancellor. Look at that speed. One of the fastest strong safeties in the class. Look at that hit power. He's going to cause so many fucking fumbles. Look at that pursuit. No one can outrun him. He's going to be amazing. Oh, wait. C plus tackling. 79 to 80 tackling. Oh, shit. Once I come up against guys like David Johnson, Adrian Peterson, Thomas Rawls, any of these great guys, guess what? They're going to break a tackle or two. Especially if you're trying to hit stick with every fucking tackle. So that's strong safeties. Kickers. Now usually, this is a weird thing, because usually I would say don't spend a goddamn point on kickers. Like you saw, I found Cody Harkey in free agency for nice and cheap. And he's going to last me for 10 years, so none of this fucking matters. But if you're desperate, if you got a solid team and you're desperate for a kicker because kicking sucks this year, then go ahead and dump it in. Because basically what you want to look for, high power. Both these guys have under 90 power. Fuck them both. You're not going to hit anything over 50 yards, basically. Or 45 even. This guy's accuracy is shit. He's not even worth the time of day. His accuracy is decent, so maybe I can work on that power and get him decent. Maybe. But here's the thing. Then you got the awareness. Here's the biggest tip, guys, for guys having trouble with the kick system in Madden 17. The awareness adjusts the size of that black box at the bottom where you set your accuracy. The higher your awareness, the more accurate that box is to your accuracy rating. So you can have 99 accuracy, but if you have 12 awareness, that box is going to be a little sliver instead of a nice, decent sized box where you can put that line and make it a good kick. Remember that. Awareness on kickers is extremely important this year. So look at your kicker's awareness. If you've been having trouble with field goals, there's one or two things happening. One, you're having trouble getting used to the system, which I don't think it's that hard because they've had it before. So if you played before, I don't know when they brought it in. I think it was 12 or something. So if you played before 12, you've probably seen this system before. It wasn't as painful as it was this year, but you've seen it before, so you should be able to adjust. So one thing that's happening, you can't get used to the system because you've never seen it before. Just got to put work in, guys. Number two, if that's not it, if you think you got the system and you're just missing the box every fucking time, awareness. Work on your kicker's awareness, and that box may just get bigger for you. Remember that. Same thing with punters. Don't waste time on them, and just look for awareness and high power. Accuracy is easy to build up this year. So keep that in mind for your draft. So again, that's my tips and tricks on free agency and combine scouting. So at 9 Eastern tonight, we will have a live stream of the Potluck League draft, and I will give you guys some on-the-fly tips of what I'm doing, what I'm thinking when my pick comes up, or what's going on here. So, and I'll also give you some tips on if you're running your own draft, what's some good systems to have so that your draft runs smoothly, because I promise you, I've been doing this long enough to know that every time you do a draft, there is someone bitching that it's not going fast enough or that we're going all 7 rounds. In my drafts, I go all 7 rounds. In fantasy drafts, I like to draft all 54 rounds. I like to draft every single fucking player on my team. There are tons of users who get out of the first round and are like, okay, I'm done. I've already seen it this year. There are guys dumping picks, just dumping picks for next year picks because Alex has 4 or 5 first round picks. That's fine. He can have those 4 or 5 first round picks. I'm still going to get my gems. I always do. So I'm going to show you some tips later on how to keep a draft running smoothly. But some of it, you just got to fucking ignore. They're idiots. I don't worry about it. So, for No Collar Gaming, make sure you tune in for the draft tonight, 9 Eastern. I'll be posting links in the chats that I did today, in the Twitter, and on our Facebook page. Make sure you like us on Facebook at No Collar Gaming. Follow us on Twitter at No Collar ENT. Also, like the video if you like what I had to say. Comment on it. Share it with your friends. Get more competitive users out there in league so they don't give up and just play offline. Let them enjoy the competitiveness of an online league. There is a lot of friendships and fun to be had in an online league. So it's something to look into. I have a couple of very good friends in Potluck League who I consider good friends, and I have their back when I can. And you never know what you're going to find in an online league. So there's good people, there's bad people, there's trolls. That's the internet. That's online gaming. That's YouTubing. That's everything. So there's trolls everywhere. So don't worry about the bad users. Focus on the good ones. And every once in a while, you're gonna have to let a troll into your league and let them troll, let them do their thing, and watch them suck. Doesn't matter. The important thing is you have a good, long-running league, and that's part of the reason I'm doing this series, is to show that even with our problems, which there have been a couple documented this year already, even with our problems, we are going to keep running Potluck League, and we are going to keep users. We have been averaging between 25 and 30 users all year. That is a pretty good, and a lot of guys are like, oh, if it's not Phil, it's bullshit. That's not true, because it is hard to find 32 loyal guys to stick with your league and without any incentives. I mean, we do not have prizes. We just introduced YouTube this year. I just started discussing maybe having some kind of prize at the end of the year. This is not an incentive league, but we work hard and we keep the thing going. We have been running, and I just talked to one of our commissioners about it the other year. We have been together since September of last year with the same core group of guys. There are some of these guys that I have known since last September. That is 1 year straight. I took 2 months off, I think, while I was getting married and moving, and then jumped right back into this. So this is just to help you guys have a better league. If you're running one, if you're in one, maybe show your commission this video. Maybe they show them the draft video a little later. Maybe show them a couple of my other videos. How to keep a league running. I'm going to start series on that. How do you keep it running even though you're not the best, or they're not the best, or whatever? How do you keep a league running? I mean, there are people who hate me in my league. I don't give a fuck. They hate me. That's nice. I'm never going to see you. But then there's other people who I get along with pretty well. But it's about keeping to your rules, keeping to your schedule, keeping to other things that keeps the people, even the people who hate you, will stay in your league because it's a decent league. So those videos are coming later. Again, draft 9 Eastern. Check that out. I will be posting links all over the place. Like us on Facebook at No Collar Gaming. Follow us on Twitter at No Collar ENT. Like the video, subscribe, share it with your commish, share it with your friends. For No Collar Gaming, I'm Matt, and I'm out.